Guys, and welcome to my channel. It is officially spooky season, so in this video I'm going to be talking about all the horror books I plan to read for the fall / for Halloween. So this is a TBR video for me / you can also look at it as a recommendation list for you if you're looking for something spooky to check out over the next few months. So let's get into it, shall we? There is no real rhyme or reason to these books. Some of them are haunted house books, some of them are witchy books, some of them are books that take place on Halloween. So I guess there's a little method to my madness here. Let's just start with the Halloweeny books. Also, isn't this mug cute? Very Halloweeny. Also, do you like my new Chucky sweatshirt? Anyway, first book I want to talk about is Blood Sugar from Daniel Kraus. This is about a guy who starts to put like razor blades in candy for Halloween, and he is determined to kill people. I think this plays with the infamous urban legend of always checking your candy because somebody might put razor blades in your candy, although I don't know if that ever actually happened. But I love this concept. It's a short, quick read. It's a true crime novel. What is this? Hard case crime. So yeah, in this cover it just is truly, it captures the essence of Halloween. So I'm excited to check this one out. We have Autumn Crow from Cameron Chaney, who is a book talker on here. I believe this is a collection of Halloween short stories that are centered in this town called Autumn Crow. So it's giving me Halloween Town vibes. I love the cover, and I feel like it's going to be the perfect atmospheric Halloween read. Then we have This is Halloween, which is another collection of short stories that are all set on Halloween. And also love the cover of this one. 10 Tales of Horror, okay? By Bram Stoker Award nominee. So that's a big deal. I'm expecting this to be scary. There's a town with an obsession with scarecrows. There's witches, you know, all the good Halloween vibes. And I also have Brian Smith's All Hallows Dead. Look at this cool cover. This is giving me like The Devil's Rejects, but set on Halloween. It's Halloween week in Willow Springs, Tennessee, and a mad slasher is on the loose. 25 years ago, a group of local boys did a very bad thing. Now a mass killer is leaving a trail of corpses and bloody pumpkins all over town. Okay, so this isn't a short story. This is actually a novel set on a small town on Halloween where vengeance is in the air. These were on my reading list last year. They're Halloween Night and Halloween Night 2 from R.L. Stine. These just have the most perfect Halloween covers I've ever seen in my life, and I need to read them. I know that it centers on a group of kids who play a prank, I believe. They decide to plan the perfect murder, something to go along with a Halloween party. I'm guessing, as in all R.L. Stine books, it started out as a prank and then it goes horribly wrong. So I need to read this year, guys. So I'm making this to hold myself accountable. And then we have some kid horror books continuing that vibe. Goosebumps Series 2000 R.L. Stine. It is Headless Halloween. I love the Headless Horseman, and this cover is just perfect for Halloween. 2 Mary-Kate and Ashley books that I need to read because they're just very fall Halloween-y, and I loved the Mary-Kate and Ashley book series, and everything about Mary-Kate and Ashley, they are the ones, their adventure series is what got me into reading. So when I saw these two that I didn't read when I was little, I had to pick them up. So let's get into the haunted house books I need to read over the fall, which is a lot. I don't know. I'm looking at the pile now and I'm insane. So first one, iconic, The Amityville Horror. This is supposedly based on a true story about a family who moved into this house where a series of brutal murders happen, and they discover that it's haunted, and they flee within like 72 days, right? Is it 72 days? 28 days. Damn, they weren't there that long. This is just an iconic haunted house horror that I need to read. I've heard mixed things, but I tend to love old school horror, so I might like it. Then we have Burnt Offerings, which is another haunted house story about a family who moves into this mansion. The mansion is filled with an evil that kind of seeps into these people's bodies and pores. What am I saying? So it really changes them, and they discovered that the house is haunted. It's kind of controlling them. And wow, I'm doing great here. Then I have The Apartment from S.L. Gray. It's about a young couple and their daughter who move into an apartment and discover that it's haunted. The apartment is in the heart of Paris, which I love that setting so much. I want to go to Paris. It's like my bucket list dream place to travel. So the idea of a haunted house story set in Paris, just, it makes my cold dead heart beat faster. I just love that element. I can picture it being cold and dreary, and I feel like there's like an uneasiness in the air because they're out of their element, they're in a new city, so that just makes the stakes even higher. So I'm excited to check this one out. I've heard good things about it. So we have Hell House from Richard Matheson. This is an iconic haunted house story. This is about 4 strangers who decide to conduct an investigation on this infamously haunted house. It's classic supernatural horror story, and I need to read it. Then we have Kill Creek, which is very similar in vibes, it seems, to Hell House. It's about a group of writers who stay in an infamously haunted house for the night as like a publicity stunt, and you know, things go wrong because it's a horror story. I've also heard mixed things about this. Some people either love it, some people hate it, so we'll find out. Okay, and then we have Harvest Home, which I have 2 copies. I have this old copy that doesn't have a jacket, but I love it. And then I have this newer copy. This is about a couple who moved to this new town in New England, and it's weird. There's some vibes that are off, but I love those small town vibes, and this story sounds like it's rich in those small atmospheric vibes where it's a small town community where everybody knows everybody's secrets and they don't really welcome newcomers, and there's some dark stuff that's underlying under the surface of these people who seem kind of perfect, and it seems picturesque, but then I think they quickly realize that something sinister is going on. So then we have The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I need to freaking read this book. This is the quintessential haunted house horror. It set the blueprint for all haunted house horror, I believe. It's a classic. It's iconic. It's about a paranormal investigator who takes a few individuals into Hill House, an infamously haunted house, to investigate, and each person has their own abilities and own traumas that they're coming into the house with, and the house kind of has a mind of its own. I love the film The Haunting of Hill House. It is so creepy, and it has the most effective subtle scares. It's definitely a slow burn character study, so I think that's what this story is going to be focused on. It's not really like the Haunting of Hill House show on Netflix, which I love. I think it's mostly about mental illness, and it really makes you question, is this house really haunted, or is this just in the characters' heads? So it's very short. I should be able to get to it. I need to read it. And now we're getting into some of the witchy books I want to read this fall. So first is The Lighthouse Witches from C.J. Cook. It takes place on a Scottish island, which, yes, thank you. It's about 2 sisters who go missing on a remote Scottish island. 20 years later, one is found, but she's still the same age as when she disappeared. Secrets of witches have reached across the centuries in this chilling gothic thriller from the author of the acclaimed The Nesting. Okay, I haven't read anything by this author, but I love the setup. So a young woman is commissioned to paint a mural on this lighthouse in a Scottish island, and her 2 daughters go missing. So this woman investigates. She learns that there's a cave beneath the lighthouse. It was once a prison for women accused of witchcraft. Then we have Hex from Thomas I don't know how to say his name. Oldhuvelt? Oh, sorry. I haven't read anything from this author, but I've heard that this story is really creepy, but also funny, like just odd and quirky and weird. So I like that. It's set in a small town that is haunted by this witch, and this one gets compared to stories that are written by Stephen King, so I think the town is going to be very rich in history and character. It's going to be very gothic and cold and dark, and Rue Morgue says it's the best horror debut since Let the Right One In, and that's one of my favorite horror books of all time. So, and then we have Cackle from Rachel Harrison, which is about a woman who goes to a small town that's very picturesque, kind of like Stars Hollow. It seems like the perfect little autumn town that you see in Hallmark movies, but she befriends this town like witch lady, and I think things get a little sinister from there. Reading Cackle was like stumbling upon a candy cottage in a dark wood. Utterly surprising, deceptively delightful, and a little bit scary too. I gobbled it up in a weekend, cackling all the while. Okay, I love that. I love that. Oh, that's just, it feels like it's a cozy blanket, but it just also surprises you with moments that are absolutely terrifying. So I really want to read this one. I really want to read anything from Rachel Harrison. I have The Return by her that I've wanted to read for a while, but haven't yet. So hopefully I'll get to this one first. And then have to end off the TBR with Horseman from Christina Henry. I love anything Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman. It is my favorite story. I've read the original short story from Washington Irving, and I like that there's other interpretations of it. I read Christina Henry's book Near the Bone, wasn't a huge fan of it, but I did think she was really great at writing vicious, dark, scary, and intense moments, and she created some interesting characters. I just didn't like where the story went in Near the Bone, but I thought she had a good setup, and there was a lot of stuff of that story that I really liked. So I hope that this is giving me the small, atmospheric, small town vibes that I'm looking for. It's basically a revisitation of the Sleepy Hollow story, and it's about a person who is a descendant of one of the original people in Sleepy Hollow. More than 30 years after the events of the Sleepy Hollow, the village is a quiet place. 14-year-old Ben loves to play Sleepy Hollow Boys, reenacting the events Brom once lived through. But then Ben and a friend stumble across the headless body of a child in the woods near the village, and the discovery makes Ben question everything the adults in Sleepy Hollow have ever said. Could the horseman be real after all? Or does something even more sinister stalk the woods? Yes, I hope he's real, and I hope he did return and he's killing little kids in this town. So we'll find out. That's about it for now. I think this is a lot of books that I don't think I'm going to get through, but I'm just really looking for those haunted house, witchy, gothic horror vibes. It's all about the vibes. Vibes and atmosphere, because I want to feel uncomfortable but also cozy a little bit. I like that dreariness that just seeps through the pages of stories set during this time. I love supernatural horror stories, so that's why I'm gravitating more towards the haunted house stories. And yeah, haunted house stories are scary because you can't really escape your house. Your house is supposed to be your sanctuary. So when a ghost enters the picture or something sinister enters the picture, it's just absolutely terrifying to me. So I hope to get through some of these. I know I won't get through everything because the months are flying, okay? So we're gonna try though. We're gonna try. And let me know what you're reading this fall, what you plan on reading for spooky season. I am hoping to get back in the swing of things. I've been struggling a bit with reading, especially after just getting over being sick. But let me know which book you think I should pick up first, if you want to see any reading vlogs on these, because I think that would be fun to do. And yeah, if you have any additional recommendations for Halloween stories, please leave it in the comments. I love seeing what you guys are reading. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Bye.